Hello everyone, my name is Gavin. Welcome back to another video. This video is a part of my MCAT journey series where I just make um, not daily, videos that track my progression as I am preparing for the MCAT and ultimately to attend med school. That's the big picture for me. Yeah, guys, last time we spoke, I was fixing to take my third practice full length through Blueprint, and I took that on Saturday. Overall, I achieved, I guess, my goal score for that exam. I may have explained it earlier, but I'm taking 10 practice exams leading up to the MCAT, taking four from Blueprint. I'm taking six from AAMC. Is that right? I guess so. Yeah, guys, it went fine. I got the score that I was hoping for. I'm hoping to increase each practice exam by 2 points. So just with that slow progression, I can get to my target score. And I hit my score that I wanted. I think I told y'all, but my last full length, I actually scored less than the one before, so I was very bummed down. But my score went up 4 points from my last full length, so technically I'm on track by increasing by two every time. Yeah, guys. One thing I can say is that I believe my full potential is not met, so I am encouraged. I made silly mistakes on Chem Phys per usual. Cars, I overanalyzed certain questions per usual. Bio and biology, content gaps. I realized that my enemy when it comes to bio and biochem are the passages pertaining to genetics and X and Y chromosomes, which I always thought I was good at that because I've taken a whole college course on it. But the way I was asked, and I feel like I never really grasped what I was being asked throughout that whole passage. So that was a poor one. But other than that, it's just some content gaps here and there, silly mistakes too. And then psychology and sociology. Uh, I don't even know. The whole section isn't even hard. I just don't know certain rules or concepts. Also, this silly questions I missed. So I feel pretty good. I'm not beating myself too much about that exam, but I'm excited for the progression that I'll be able to make. But yeah, I feel like what I like a lot about Blueprint is that it is harder. There's more steps in your calculations, and there's more things to analyze, and that there's more steps of thinking to get to the right answer. So I feel like I'm learning a lot. I was never on a time crunch, I felt like, throughout the whole exam, so I feel like my pacing is getting better. But yeah, I actually prepared a mini lesson for you guys, going back to the roots. So I want to show that shortly. But one thing that I will say is that I'm getting the hang of being in the testing atmosphere. I feel like I'm comfortable in the layout of the MCAT. For those that know, like when you're taking it, it's like this low res text and it's like this white and blue screen, and it feels like you're taking some hospital questionnaire the whole time. But I'm getting more comfortable in it. So I feel like overall it went good. But yeah, I haven't done really much since. I reviewed it on Sunday, and then today is my day off from the MCAT practice stuff. So I'm not doing U-roll today or anything like that. Uh, I will be doing Anki more today. I did some this morning, but it's kind of the goal with that. But yeah, guys, I wanted to show y'all something that I frankly don't know too well. I feel like this is a galvanic and electrolytic cell. This is a topic in electrochemistry, and from my college course, I did not learn this. So I feel like I have had a huge content gap because with every passage I've done on every well, I don't want to spool, but this is a very high yield concept to understand, and it's just the difference between these two things. And it's weird because at first it's like, why do I really have to know this? But this is actually a very common concepts that your body uses to convert certain forms of energy into others. So I want to go over it real quick because I wanted to help myself understand too, but hopefully dumb down this for me. Hopefully it'll be helpful for some of y'all too, or just a little fun thing to learn for others that aren't. So above here we have a galvanic cell and a electrolytic cell. The main distinction from my experience is that a galvanic cell is spontaneous. So delta G will be negative. And because of that, there are three main relationships through that. If delta G is negative, then that means that Km has to be positive. And that also means that the reduction potential value, but which is just a E naught, also has to be positive. And that's one thing I missed throughout all my practice exams that are on this passage. So I'm not spoiling because it's everywhere. Is that if delta G is negative, E naught is positive, but also knowing how to computate that. Then a electrolytic cell, these are non-spontaneous. This is a non-spontaneous cell, and the cell is kind of like the bigger body of the process happening. Um, so the goal of a galvanic cell, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right, I don't even know if I am, is to convert chemical energy into electrical energy. And I have an example here. It's the electron transport chain. It's a very common use of this, and it's a such a core part of your body that you should know that. And then a electrolytic cell is the opposite. So it is electrical energy into chemical energy. I haven't tested too much on electrolytic cells, so I'll just go through this one just real quick. The main distinction is that with this, it's almost like everything's like flipped. So because delta G is positive, E naught has to be negative, and that the anode, right, but we are usually told that the anode travels to the cathode as far as the flow of electrons. Well, we see that over here, but in the electrolytic cell, the cathode actually travels to the anode because the anode is connected to a external positive source, meaning that it is negative while the cathode is positive. In other words, it is higher in reduction potential than the cathode. That's not the case for a galvanic cell. So we have this main equation here, which I've been tested on this equation. Like, what is the overall E naught for this cell, and what does that mean for delta G, right? So the E naught of a cell is the E naught of cathode minus anode, aka reduced minus oxidized. And in this cell, the anode is the source of electrons that are flowing to the cathode. So the anode flows to the cathode. And that's something that is weird for me to think about because I'm used to thinking about um, positive going to negative. I don't know why like that just clicks more in my mind, but it's not true. So don't do that. But here's a prime example. Can I zoom in? Oh, sure. Oh, 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 oh. All right, we got it. So this is not the electron transport chain. This is just a little figure I drew, but it is a good diagram of what it would look like. So the contents of electron transport chain, which the main goal is to use the proton pump in order to um, result in the production of ATP. One key factor is that oxygen is never oxidized. I mean, if you look at O2, it is not able to give up electrons, right? It is only going to be reduced. And in the context of a galvanic cell, the anode would be pretty much everything before, and then the cathode would be the end of the ETC or oxygen being reduced into H2O water. Another main thing is that throughout this chain of proton pumps and everything, that is it's always traveling from lower potential to higher potential. That is where that drive comes to drive the protons across the membrane in order to produce ATP in the very end. And the one of the main examples of this is with NADH and FADH2 being oxidized into NAD plus and FAD. And because of that, the drive from the lower potential to the higher potential, this drive of electrons here is going to reduce oxygen into H2O. And that seems like something that we always know, but well, maybe not always, but it's a core concept of the ETC and within aerobic respiration that we hardly think about what it would be like in the context of a galvanic cell. But all that this model really is just a representation of what is really happening. So this is something that I've missed a lot. I feel like I don't really have the concept down too well. A lot of it too is that they'll show you a lot of chemical equations and then ask you to find E naught. And you have to distinct like, all right, so which of these values is exactly the cathode and which are the anode? Because you're given like five, different values and some are positive and negative, and you have to distinct. But the main thing is that what is ultimately being oxidized and what is being reduced. And uh, in a random passage, I won't tell y'all which one, I don't know why, but uh, in a random passage I've done, it was the NADH that was the anode, and then oxygen being reduced into H2O. That value of E naught cathode was the cathode or the reduced value. So this is just a little concept thing because I every time I come across these passages and I review my answers and by they're wrong, I always check myself in very little parts of it, but I'm not learning the entire concept that like as a whole, and that's why I'm not really learning from it too well. So yeah, that was something that I thought was pretty helpful for me. But yeah, I'll stop share here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, I'm not taking a full length this Saturday. I'll be going on a spring break trip. And I feel like this is one big test in my commitment and discipline to all this is how am I going to spend this whole next week out of town still doing my U-World passages and Anki when I'm in an entirely different environment and when I'm with a large community. Me and my college ministry are going on a service trip. So it's like, how am I going to study effectively? So I am considering like how to really go through that. As far as this week though, I'll be doing the same thing, just doing U-World and Anki. But yeah, I would say overall the full length on Saturday went decent at best. And yeah. Good news though. Throughout this whole process, thought I'd update y'all. I have my letters of rec finalized with my list, and they're agreeing to do it. So I have five LORs pending, and that means that my personal statement has to be done. So I'm gonna be starting on that tonight, actually. But yeah, guys, want to say thank y'all for watching and for joining in. I'm trying to stay focused, trying to stay humble, trying to respect when I get things wrong. Um, I feel like I came into this whole shebang thinking that I knew everything, because I did pretty well in college so far. Yet I was shown very quick that that was false. So another thing is that for those that are maybe early on in their studying, do not lose your mind too quick over physics. or biochemistry. I feel like those are always the two weakest areas, but physics, it's not that bad. I feel like chem phys so far has been more heavily chemistry, and then physics is like the discrete questions. So, yeah, I don't know. That's been a weird like observation for me so far. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Hope you all are doing well. Um, know that whatever you are doing, if it's the MCAT, which the MCAT is not our career, it's hopefully to be a physician, but the season of life of what you're doing right now, give it your all because it's in your life for a specific reason. So with whatever is on your plate, commit to it with all you have because that's the reason why it's on your plate. So I'm constantly overwhelmed and busy, and I feel like I'm not doing enough every single day. But I also know that what is on my plate, I'm giving it my all every day. So I can rest my head and say that. So just want to say thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I'll be back here tomorrow night with an update. But until then, y'all have a good one.